Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. We've been talking this week about Charles Spurgeon, the great Baptist preacher of the 19th century, who established what was the biggest church in the world at the time and had such a prolific writing output, who started so many charitable organizations, who organized a church planting movement, preached thousands of sermons to hundreds of thousands of people. Yet, for most of his adult life, he suffered from severe depression. At the age of 22, he was preaching at a special meeting in the Surrey Gardens Music Hall. And there was a huge crowd in the building. It was packed out, 12,000 people inside the building, 10,000 more listening outside, trying to catch what was being said through the open doors and windows. Remember, this was before electronic amplification. And somebody inside the music hall shouted, "Fire!" apparently as a prank. But it started a stampede, and 7 people were killed and 28 people severely injured. Spurgeon's mind was never the same again. His wife, Susanna, said, "My beloved's anguish was so deep and violent that reason seemed to totter in her throne, and we sometimes feared that he would never preach again." For some time afterwards, every time he saw a Bible, he would burst into tears. This is a pastor, a preacher, who loved the Bible, yet just looking at a Bible would remind him of that night when he was preaching and this dreadful event had happened. And he struggled with severe depression all his life. Then from the age of 33, physical pain became a constant companion. He suffered from a dreadful kidney inflammation called Bright's disease, which was like a burning pain. He suffered from gout, from rheumatism and neuritis. And the pain was such that some years he was only able to preach 2/3 of the Sundays in a year, because for a full 1/3 of all the Sundays in the year, he would be too ill to go into the pulpit. He said there were sometimes when he went to preach, and just before the service, an attack of nervousness and trembling would leave him in such a condition that he would be unable to stand up and preach. Not only that, his wife suffered from severe ill health as well. She had a severe gynecological issue and was operated on by a well-known surgeon, but it didn't fix things. And she actually spent much of the rest of her life as an invalid. And in the midst of all this, Spurgeon, and this for me is one of the most remarkable things, Spurgeon was renowned for how joyful he was. He often preached about joy. Numerous times his sermons were based around the joy of the Lord and how wonderful it was to serve Jesus and what it meant to walk in that joy. And that was not just empty words. Those that knew him, despite the physical and mental ill health that he struggled with, despite the situation with an invalid wife, those that knew him said that he radiated a joy, that just being around him lifted your spirits. This man, he achieved so much in the face of so much. And that is a reminder to me. I may not have Charles Spurgeon's preaching gifts. I may not have his writing ability. I certainly don't have the stamina for the workload that he maintained. But I believe that what I can do is to ensure that my particular circumstances do not hold me back, just as his circumstances did not hold him back. Sometimes people ask us how we are, and we say, "I'm okay under the circumstances." Charles Spurgeon didn't live under the circumstances. He lived above the circumstances. I'm determined to do the same also, and I pray you are too. May God bless you today, and join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.